Hey guys, it's Alicia Roselli. I am a second-year student at Berkeley, and I'm just presenting on a couple of apps and cool things that I've seen in my practice or have found in this course in relation to working with clients with mental health issues. So just to get going, the first case I have, I actually modified to work more with what I deal with every day, which is I work with youth with autism who typically show aggressive behaviors towards themselves or others, most likely due to a comorbid mental health diagnosis. The thing is that some kids with autism react to things such as iPads with really intense fascination, so much so that it's a very major concern for at least our kids to potentially break their iPads, to throw it across the room, to jump on top of it, to lick it. I mean, you can name it, they probably did it. So I think it's actually really important for music therapists to try and incorporate the iPad into our work, especially with aggressive kids, because we want to teach them with, of course, support from behaviorists and the ABA models on how to engage with these devices that are really important for them in a way that is safe. So as my rapport building, I actually do use this in real life, and it's called Keezy Drummer. And Keezy Drummer is really cool because you can pretty much make a beat very simply in a couple of seconds. And it's on a continuous loop, and the sounds are represented, if you can see, hopefully you can, by circles, which is perfect if you have kids with different levels, different ranges. Also, most kids are kind of just interested in this in general, especially once the beats start. So you may start out with this one circle, press on the circle here, and it has different options. All right, whoop, snare, kick, there's like an open, blip, blop, you kind of name it, it's kind of cool. So you start off, hit some circles, let it go, all that stuff. Alright. And then you kind of just play with the circles with the kids, and they get really, you see the fascination. It's actually a good assessment tool because you see if they can focus on this plane here and not try and find everything else, which most of the time they do, which is fine. That's totally normal. They're very curious. So anyway, if you like it, you hit this little check mark and you can add another beat. So let's see, we can like, yeah. And then you're cool with that. All right, I'm gonna add another beat. Like, so it keeps going. Like, my kids really like the ha one. I don't know why, they just do it too. But anyway, or do the clap. I don't know. But anyway, so this is kind of like an intro to Keezy Drummer. Alright, so that's like a really great warm-up. It's a really great way to just kind of see how they do with the iPad, if they're ready for it, if you're ready for it. So another way in which we can engage is actually through another Keezy app, and I love this one. And it's just the traditional Keezy. This is what it was initially built for. And it's just like a big soundboard. So, alright, so Keezy has 8 color tiles to create a soundboard in which you can hold a tile down and it can record your voice. If you look up closely, here it is, and you're like, hey, 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 hey. You know, and it, hey, 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 hey. So anyway, what I like to do is have the kids practice recording their own voices, which they get really shy about. They also really need my help because it's tough for them to understand that they have to sing and press this at the same time to record. So it actually helps eliminate that separation, that isolation from the iPad at the client and myself, and they ask me for help. They realize they need my help to do this, and it's kind of a very cool experience and helps, like I said, decrease the isolation, increase boundaries, and allow me to be a part of their world in music technology. So anyway, I primarily for documentation use one kind of tracker. It's called DT Pro Tracker. This one is really cool, especially if you work with kids on the spectrum, because it actually lets you put it down those target behaviors and you figure out so DT Pro is a really great tool for tracking and graphing goals of it was initially created for teachers, for students, but I see that it could actually be really helpful for music therapists, especially if you work with kids on the spectrum, because they use a lot of terminology that you usually use when you're going through a treatment review, which is you can actually track how often you need to cue a kid, if you need to, if they did it successfully, if they did it unsuccessfully, if they approximately kind of got it. So I definitely see how it's more about learning, but it can be transferable to our setting. And it's really cool because it is a frequency count, which is great and sometimes tough, but it's I put in like redirection and I made up a bunch of tallies, and here we have graphs.